The air in the high elf city of Silverstream hummed with an almost palpable magic, a shimmering tapestry woven from starlight and ancient power. Yet within this ethereal beauty, a secret bloomed, a discordant note in the symphony of elven grace. Alara, a drow child, was born amidst the pristine white marble of the royal birthing chambers, a paradox wrapped in a silken shroud. Her mother, Princess Lyra of Silverstream, the most radiant of high elves, bore a daughter whose skin was the color of obsidian that steals the light, her eyes a slightly iridescent violet, and whose hair cascaded down her back in a torrent of ghostly white, like moonlight on snow. The very air around her seemed to crackle with an unseen energy, a stark contrast to the serene magic of her high elf surroundings. Her birth was a miracle, whispered among the elven elders in hushed tones. Centuries had passed since the cataclysmic Sundering War, a brutal conflict that had shattered the land and seemingly wiped out the drow, the dark elves who dwelled in the shadowed depths beneath the earth. The very existence of a drow child was an anomaly, a whispered legend, a defiance of the established order. Lyra, her noble bearing unwavering, shielded her daughter from the overt expressions of fear and suspicion, but the subtle glances, the averted eyes, the hushed conversations that drifted on the breeze painted a clear picture. Alara was not welcomed. Lyra, though heartbroken by the prejudice against her daughter, fiercely protected her. She ensured that Alara received the best education Silverstream could offer. Her tutors, initially hesitant, soon discovered a remarkable intellect and an innate affinity for magic, surpassing even that of her high elf peers. Alara's magic was wild and untamed, a chaotic force reminiscent of the drow's reputation for darker arts, while high elven magic was refined, precise, and almost surgical in its elegance. Alara's pulsed with untamed energy, a raw power that both captivated and frightened those around her. She could summon shadows with a flick of her wrist, coax whispers from the wind, and manipulate the very fabric of night itself. The ostracism, however, was inevitable. High elf society, with its rigid structures and unwavering adherence to tradition, could not reconcile itself to a drow child within its midst. Children, ever keen observers of adult behavior, mirrored the adults' apprehension, often shunning Alara, while Lyra's protective embrace shielded her from the most blatant displays of prejudice. The subtle barbs, the whispered insults, and the pervasive feeling of otherness left an indelible mark on Alara's young heart. She learned early on to become self-reliant, her innate resilience tempered by the constant undercurrent of exclusion. Alara's upbringing was a delicate balancing act. Lyra, determined to give her daughter a life free from the shadows of prejudice, provided her with a loving home, a stimulating education, and the encouragement to embrace her unique heritage. Yet Alara also felt the weight of her difference, the unspoken questions hanging in the air, the constant reminder that she didn't quite belong. She sought solace in the quiet corners of the library, losing herself in ancient texts that spoke of the drow, of their history, of their magic, a magic as dark and powerful as the night itself. She learned to channel her loneliness, transforming it into a source of strength, fueling her magical development. The years passed, and Alara blossomed into a strikingly beautiful young woman, her drow features softened by the gentle influence of her high elf upbringing. But the wildness in her eyes remained, a reflection of the untamed magic that flowed within her. At 16, her life took an unexpected and perilous turn. One moonless night, a cold sensation pricked her skin, a silent call echoing across the centuries, tugging at the very core of her being. It was a summons, a pull, as if an unseen force reached out from the shadows, beckoning her toward an unknown destiny. The source of the summons was a scimitar, a wickedly curved blade of obsidian and shadow, radiating an aura of malevolent sentience. The scimitar, an ancient weapon imbued with dark magic, pulsed with a palpable energy that mirrored Elara's own. It felt as though it were a part of her, as if its very essence was woven into the fabric of her soul.